Today I am going to be talking to new Poshers, people on Poshmark who have some questions. Hey everyone, welcome to Lori's Boston Found, where thrifted is the new black. My name is Lori. I am a fashion reseller on the Poshmark app. I purchase items at thrift stores, yard sales, estate sales, any place I can get my hands on usually pre-owned items, and then I flip them on the internet for profit, and I absolutely love it. So thank you so much for joining me on my journey. If reseller content is something that interests you, feel free to hit the subscribe button at any time during this video and hit the thumbs up if you like what you're seeing. Today is Tuesday, St. Patrick's Day, when I'm filming this, and today is the first day that my entire family is home. My husband works in Boston. His office has decided to send everybody home to work remotely, and my son is a junior in college. He's home, and my 2 high school students are home. So there are 5 of us under our roof. You can hear my son in the other room. It's been interesting. So we are in the midst of the coronavirus crisis in the United States, and we live in Central Mass, and our state has been hit pretty hard. We have quite a few cases here, and the governor of Massachusetts has declared a state of emergency. So we have chosen to self-quarantine. So far, so good here. I feel very blessed that we could all be together, that everybody's safe. I am filming in my basement for the first time in a very long time, and the reason I haven't been able to film down here is because it's been such a mess for so long. I actually filmed my very first YouTube video in this chair at this desk in my basement in January of 2019. So I've been on YouTube for just a little over a year. It's been quite a journey, and I recently did a huge clear out in my basement, and I find myself just coming down here just to sit and admire the space. The walls were closing in on me. I had way too much inventory, and I'm just so happy that it's a peaceful spot, and especially given the fact that everybody's home right now, it's a nice little oasis for me to come downstairs, put the little pellet stove on in the other room, put a podcast on or watch a show, and just get to work. So I've been really enjoying it. So maybe I'll do a few more videos down here. In early February, I put it out on my Instagram stories that I wanted to do a video for people who were new to Poshmark. People started to reach out to me and let me know that they had a lot of basic questions. I felt like it was time to do a video for all of the people getting started in reselling. Whether you're new to Poshmark or a seasoned veteran in the reselling business, I hope that this video is helpful to you. I'm going to answer some of the questions that were sent to me on Instagram. It looks like I have 11 questions here, so I'm going to try my best to get through all of them, and we'll see where it takes us, and hopefully you find it informative. Number 1, how many listings do you think you need to have to start seeing a steady amount of traffic and customers? Some of these questions I condensed because they were repeated, and this was one of those that I got quite a few times. And it was also a question that was really front of mind for me when I had started out on Poshmark. And I guess my best answer would be, I think somewhere between 200 and 300 items, I started to see more consistent sales. I don't know that they were like daily sales at that point. I feel like I was probably closer to around 500 when I started seeing daily sales, so 500 live listings on Poshmark. I'm speaking mostly to Poshmark. I also do a little bit of business on eBay, but I am talking mostly to my Poshmark audience today. But I would say the same with eBay. I don't know that there's a specific... Sorry, furball, I think, and Lulu's through. I don't know that there's a specific number on eBay or even Poshmark for that matter, but you want to be listing consistently, and you want to have enough items in your closet that when people come to shop at your closet, you have enough sizes and variety that's going to appeal to a lot of people, and then that would end up in extra sale. I've stated quite a few times that I feel like my closet's a little too big right now. My father shares for me every day, and it's a lot. I have 1,240 something listings, and I can't seem to get less than that. The really upswing to having a large closet is I get a number of bundle sales, and I don't think that is possible when you have a small closet. So I feel like consistent sales started around 200-300. Daily sales probably started for me around 500. And I think that bundle sales really started to kick in when I was around 750 or more. And those are just general numbers. So I don't want anyone to feel like what I'm saying is going to necessarily apply to you. I like to look at different resellers and myself as more like a case study. What works for me doesn't always work for other people, but I like to share my experience, and you can kind of cafeteria style pick and choose what you think might work for your business and then run with it. Make some changes, tweak it a little bit, see what works for you, and then go with it. But that's my best answer for that question. The next question, should we list new items for purchase 2 times a day, 7 days a week, and or more? That's real specific, 2 times a day, 7 days a week. I think what this person is trying to understand is whether or not she should be doing something consistent, like twice a day, 7 days a week. And to that, I would say yes, not necessarily exactly that, twice a day, 7 days a week, but consistent. Absolutely, yes. I find a real comfort zone for me at this stage of the game is about 5 items a day on average. So that would get me about 35 listings in a week. When I was pushing myself more in February, I was around 10 to 12 a day. I had set the goal for 7 a day, but then I upped my goal, so I was doing more like 10 a day. I'm really comfortable with 5 to 7 items a day. When I was more of a beginner, or in like the first 6 or 7 months of my business when I was part-time, I was part-time on Poshmark from August of 2018 until September of 2019. And then I went full-time in September. So it hasn't really even been that long. I am so sorry. My son he's like a loud talker anyways, and he's like shouting because he's talking with all of his friends. If there's a lot of background noise, I am so sorry. I'm not a mom who usually deals with like kids in the background. I feel like that's usually the moms who have younger children, but we're in close quarters now. Okay, so I hope that helps. So consistency really matters in my opinion. I think you're better off doing, like, say you can do 3 items a day. If you can do 3 a day for 7 days and get 21 items, that consistency is really going to pay off. I don't think the time of day that you list matters. In fact, sometimes like my schedule is usually where I start off in the morning taking photos, and I usually save my photos to drafts, and maybe I'll list like 1 or 2 in the morning to like kind of get the fire started, you know, but then I may not list the rest of the items in my camera until later that night. I tend to list a lot during the evening, like when my family's sitting down, maybe watching a show, like between the hours of like say 8 and 10. And I will list, I'll share, I'll send offers all during that time. So I hope that answers that question. The next question, how do you store your shoes? That is a good question. I will actually insert a clip to show you how I store my shoes, but I don't have the best system. And if you watch just my last video, I go through kind of the before and after of what my office looked like, and shoes are an issue for me. I love to sell shoes, but it's not like having a bin like in back of me and folding things and packaging them nicely and flattening them and putting them in a bin. Shoes are everywhere. I love to sell boots. I have a ton of ankle boots. I literally, at my desk here, I have a brown box under this desk with heels. I'm in the basement, so under the staircase, I have like a little cubby closet area where I have more shoes. My son built me a shoe rack that has my ankle boots. I have a recycled wine rack in the back room that I slip in flats. I mean, I am like all over the map for shoes. It really is a function of how much space you have and how many shoes you have to sell. I have seen shoes displayed and saved in so many different ways. There's one woman, her name is Lavender Clothesline. She probably has my dream setup. She has like a warehouse in her basement, and she actually packages her shoes in plastic so she protects them from dust, and then she has these rows of shoe racks, and then she inventories like the end cap, I believe, so like really feels like a sophisticated system. Some people put their shoes right in the boxes. You can order free boxes on USPS, and they actually have one that's a shoe box. It's one of my favorite things to use for shipping because it's made for shoes. Like the shoes don't fit. If you have a pair of ankle boots or sneakers, they don't fit in like a medium flat rate box, and oftentimes they're too small for a large box. So these specific shoe boxes are a lifesaver, and I order them in bulk. Like I think you can get them in 10 and 20 packs or 25. I think it's 10 and 25 packs, like, and it's all free. So I ship those to my house. But some people store their shoes in those boxes, and then when they're ready to sell, they just pull them and ship them. Mine are all over the place. I'm trying to think of other systems for shoes. Some people put their shoes in a bin, actually. I just got a question on my YouTube channel just last week that said, can I ask why you don't store your shoes in a bin like this? And I said, that's actually a really good question. I do store sneakers in a bin. I have one bin with sneakers. The theme is my shoes are everywhere. So I actually have a decent amount of space. I just find it hard to keep all my shoes in one spot. So it's really up to you. On the top of this storage tower here, I have all my shoes that I have priced at $100 or more, because it's literally like top shelf shoes. Like, I don't want them mixed in. I don't want to lose them. I don't want them getting scuffed up. So I have them like in a basket on top of this storage unit here. So hopefully that was helpful. I just gave you like 5 or 6 different ways you can store shoes. I do not store my shoes in plastic unless they're like a super high dollar amount. Yeah, I'll insert a clip so you can see a little bit of where my shoes live. I've showed this in so many videos, so I don't want to be redundant. I did just do a great organization video where I did a big reveal, but this is where some of my shoes live. And these shoes under here and on this rack, these are all items that I have kind of stockpiled to sell this week. So these are things that need to be listed. And this is my new shoe rack that my son Rocco built for me that has ankle boots in it. So just kind of a sampling. My shoes are all over the place, but those are just a couple spots that I store them, and just to give you a little visual. Next question. Is there a difference between sharing via the symbol and sharing via edit next list? Okay, so what that question is asking is, when you're sharing your closet on Poshmark, you know how it has like the little arrow, it makes a box and little arrows go around. That's just your basic share button. So when I'm sharing my closet, share, share, share. If it's a party, you may share a specific item to the party. If it's like a shoe party or a bag party, like, you're going to share everything in your closet, and if you come across shoes, you share to the party, and so on and so forth. Be so freaking loud. Anthony! Hold on. He just said to his friends, my mom said I was being too loud. Is that a surprise to anyone? I'm sure their answer was no. Okay, so the share button. So the reason some people do edit share list is there is this theory that if you edit something and then share it, Poshmark picks it up in its algorithm since it was edited as maybe like a new listing. When you list an item for the first time on Poshmark, the rumor is that, and I believe this, you get a lot more exposure at the top of the feed when it's a new listing. It's something in the algorithm that Poshmark wants people to get their eyes on new items. So when you list an item as new, it will go to the top and more eyes will be on it. So this is why they say, like, if you don't want to hold on to something for so long that it becomes a stale item, because the theory is that once it's stale, you just don't have as many eyes on it. So if you edit it, like say you change your first picture, say you change a price, or say you do a different crop, if you edit it in any way and then you list it, so we're not talking about taking it down and just an edit and listing it. The theory is that sometimes that will improve your odds of getting more eyes on it. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And my theory is I don't necessarily waste my time on an edit when I'm sharing. But if I've been noticing a particular item has, like, say 25 or more likes on it and it's just not moving, maybe I will do an edit just to shake things up a little bit. I'll swap out what my feature picture is, or I'll change the price, or maybe I'll change my title. In some cases, I've even changed my brand. So like say it's Maeve from Anthropologie, and I'll put Maeve in the title, but then I'll list it under Anthropologie as the brand. Sometimes if it's not selling, maybe I'll take Anthropologie out and I'll just put Maeve in as the brand, as an example. Or sometimes I've switched up if I have a vintage piece, and vintage tends to move a little slower for me. Oftentimes under brand, I will just write vintage. And so people looking for vintage will go to it, because oftentimes the brands don't matter so much. I mean, unless it's like a designer brand. But if I find it's not working under vintage, sometimes I'll put the actual brand in the brand listing. So I'll shift things up a little. I don't always list the color. I find that if the color on my image is even questionable, like if it's a teal color, say, do I do blue or do I do green? So oftentimes if it's like an in-between color, I just don't select a color, because I do that as like a little protection for myself. I don't want to say that this is blue if it's a teal color and you're seeing it as green as my buyer, and then you get it home and you say, oh, well, she said that the color was blue and I see this as green and now I want a refund. So if I find that if the picture is at all questionable for the color, I will just leave the color blank. That's just my own thing. But if I'm editing it and it hasn't been moving, then maybe I will add the color back in and see if that switches things up. So gosh, I'm really babbling, and I hope that all of this is making some sense to you. I would just share, I don't really believe in all like the little tricks on Poshmark. I do believe new listings get a lot more attention. I do believe if you edit, it will get it a little bit more attention. I do believe that sharing is important. And people are going to ask about relisting, so I'll talk about that later. But really, for me, I think the most important thing is just moving forward and listing new items. I'm not so concerned if something's sitting there for a while. If it's like a high-end designer thing that's sitting there, it might be time to pull it and send it to the Real. If it's something that's just sitting there and it's been there for a year and it's like a $15, $20 item, yeah, I could definitely pull that item. But sometimes those are the items that get put in bundles and help sell a bundle. Maybe something I picked up at the bins, and say I have it listed for $20 and it's not moving, and I keep marking it down, and say now it's like at $15. And somebody puts a high-priced item with that $15 low-end item. I can almost just give them that item for free. If I paid $1 for it at the bins, or I'm getting ready to pull that item and they partner it with a more expensive item, it's really easy for me to send good offers on an item that has some high-low products in the bundle. So sometimes I really like having low-end items in my closet because I have so many items. You know, if I have a pair of $300 shoes, it's also nice for me to have a $15 t-shirt, because that's going to appeal to more people. Now, some people think that you should have a curated closet, or a closet that's more specific or has like a certain aesthetic to it. And those closets to me are sometimes the most beautiful closets I see. I don't really have a curated closet. I definitely think I have a style, and the more I shop, the more my style comes out. However, I don't say no to something that I think will sell in my closet. So that's my 2 cents on that. How do you price your items? I tend to price my items high, to be honest with you. I take a lot of care in how I prep my items. I put a lot of thought and a lot of love into my sourcing. I feel connected to most of my items. That may sound corny, but I like to buy things that make me happy, and then I do steam all of my items. I do measurements on all of my items. So I really feel like by the time it gets to my listing, I've put a lot of steps into it. So I tend to price higher, and I send out a ton of offers. If you're a person who does not like to send offers, then I might suggest that you don't price your items super high. You might want to just price them at like, this is my bottom line. I'm not sending offers. It is what it is. And then you can kind of set it and forget it. It's a little bit more like an eBay model. I tend to price high and send a lot of offers. It's just what I do. This question: how long do you leave the original price before dropping it? It depends, but really sometimes I'll shoot offers right away. I'll have a certain percentage in my mind that I will drop the price, and then I won't drop it further than that, and I will collect likes. So what I mean by that is, say I have an item and I price it at $40 and I get 3 likes on it right away. I will probably right away mark that down to $32, which is 20% off, right? 4 times 2 is 8. $8 from 40 is 32. So I'll offer $32 with 20% off. My average selling price is 30. So that's kind of a common equation that I use. Price it at 40, drop it by 20%, send offers with $2 savings, because if you're new to Poshmark, you may or may not know when you lower your price, or when you're sending offers to people, not when you lower your price, but when you're sending offers, you also have to offer a shipping discount of either $2.11 or $2.12 or free shipping. So that's something that I will typically do. Now, say that one item, that one $40 item, over the course of 3 weeks gets 25 likes. I mean, I'm just totally picking that number out of the air. But every time somebody likes it, I send 20% in discounted shipping, 20% in discounted shipping, and 20% in discounted shipping. So after 3 weeks, I may have 25 people who have received that offer. One thing I want to mention, for the longest time, I was afraid to send multiple offers on one item, because I thought that people who liked it and received my discount already were going to receive it every time I sent an offer, and that's not true. They will not receive an offer unless I send a new offer that is at least 10% off. So if Jane likes my item and Jolene likes my item, and I send both of them the $32 offer, and then all of a sudden Susan and Donna come along and they like my offer 2 days later, they like my item 2 days later, I send them an offer for 20% off. My first two people who liked the item are not going to get that same offer. They will only get it if the offer I send is more than 10%. So once I have like 20 people who like an item, and it's been a while, and I've sent that 20% to a ton of people, then I'll say, okay, I think it's time to drop this a little bit more. And now maybe I mark that $40 item to say, I don't know, maybe I really want to move it, and I go from 40 to 25 offer to likers. Now, all of those people who got my 20% offer at different times, one-off likes that I send offers to, they'll all get it at once. So now I send that $25 offer out, and now it goes out to 25 people. So when they receive their offer, they're going to see 24 other people got this same offer. And that creates a little bit more of a sense of urgency to purchase. When people are just liking it, like one person likes it, I send an offer. 2 people like it, I send an offer. They get a notification like, this is going to you and one other person, or you are the only person that is getting this offer. They don't necessarily feel like, ooh, this is going to sell. When I send a good offer out and it goes out to 25, 30 people, the odds that I'm going to sell that piece are higher, in my opinion. So what I do is I collect likes at a certain percentage, and then when I'm ready to let it go, I drop it a little further and I send it, and it will usually sell. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I'll send offers as low as 40, 50% on things, and it sits and sits and sits, and then one day some sweet angel comes in and buys that item full price. You just never know. It's really all about timing. But that's kind of my strategy with offers to likers. And I hand it out like candy. I like to send offers to likers. Like I said, I do price my items on the higher side, and I feel like I take nice, crisp, clean pictures with a white background that isn't busy. And I feel like sometimes my pictures help sell the item. So I will look sometimes when I'm checking comps, which is if you go into Poshmark and you look at items that have sold in the same category. So if I have a Patagonia jacket and I look at the style and the color, and then I look on Poshmark, I press sold under that category. When I'm searching for something, I see what things sold for. If 10 of them sold for $45, and I see that a lot of those items, they were either in not as good condition as my item, or the photographs weren't as good as mine, then I might price it higher. On the flip side, if I have an item that's damaged, or for some reason is less than the items that I'm seeing, I may price it lower to move it faster. So I tend to price on the high side, but I look at every piece of clothing or accessories, shoes, purses. I look at it as an individual piece, and I do my pricing from there. Okay, do you relist items? Occasionally. In Thriftless February, when I was in kind of purge mode, I did relist some items, and I did sell a couple items that I relisted. I had a bathing suit that was returned and I relisted it and it sold fairly quick. I think I had a pair of jeans that I relisted. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. I'm not a huge relister, but when I tend to want to relist items that have been around for a very long time, and for a very long time for me is probably like 6-7 months or longer. Some people have a much shorter window before they want to relist or donate. Like I said, I have a large closet. I can't get around to everything. I don't mind if things sit for a while. I personally believe it's more important to move forward and keep listing new items instead of worrying about old items. But if you have limited space, it's a really good idea to relist items. If you can't keep adding to your inventory, or if you have a limited budget and you don't want to go out and buy more inventory until what you have has sold, that's a good reason to relist. Or if you have an item that you just really believe in and it hasn't sold and you're like, I don't want to keep lowering the price on this, so maybe I'll just take new photos and I'll relist it and I'll change my wording a little bit and maybe I'll use better keywords in my title and in my description. So those are the things that I would do if you're interested in relisting. So typically the things that I have the hardest time reducing the price for are items that I bought on retail arbitrage. So I tend to spend more money on those items and then I price them higher, but they're typically highly desirable brands or styles or whatnot. And then they'll get an insane amount of likes. And then there's only so low I can go on those prices. So sometimes those items sit forever with a ton of likes and I just don't want to budge on the price. So those are items that might be good things to relist every once in a while, or maybe cross list onto a different platform. But anyways, those are kind of my thoughts on relisting. Some people have a ton of success with it. I guess I just don't spend a lot of time doing it, but I definitely see the value in it. How do you create a bundle for a buyer on one item to make an offer outside of offers to likers feature? Okay, so this is a great question because like I mentioned earlier, when you send an offer to a liker, you have to reduce the price. If you send an offer to somebody in a bundle, you have the option to not give a discount. So sometimes people use their bundles as almost like a shopping cart. So like when you're online and you're shopping, you add to cart, add to cart, add to cart. You may sleep on it and you may never go back to that cart for as long as you live. Or you might go back the next day, something sold out, you realize, oh, this one's on sale, or I don't like that much today, that one as much as I did yesterday, and you alter your cart. So some people use their bundles for that purpose, and they'll just add it to their bundle and sleep on it, or just walk away. Or a lot of people know the game, and they will add something to a bundle and hope that you send them an offer. So oftentimes I don't always send, well, who am I kidding? I send most offers, even if somebody puts one item in a bundle. But I prefer to send offers to people when there's more than one item in a bundle. However, if you see that somebody has liked an item, you can add it to a bundle yourself. So I will show you this because this is kind of a tough thing to explain, but I'll share my screen and show you how to do this. Okay, so in order to create a bundle for somebody who has liked your item. So this is my closet. I'm first going to go into news over here and see if anybody liked an item. So I can go over here and I see that this person has liked this item. So I'm going to click on their name, and that's going to bring me to their page. I always make note of their name. They don't always have their real name posted here, but if they do, I always like to make it a point to use that name when I send them a message. So first I'm going to follow them because that's always good practice. Then I click on this icon over here, which is their profile picture in a little shopping bag. So I'm going to click on that. And that brings me to this page, which is the bundle page. This would be as if I were to buy something from them. You go over to this little arrow here on the right-hand side and click on the arrow, and you come down to switch to sell view. Because right now we're on the buy view. You switch to sell view, and now it shows you at the top as the seller. And it shows you items over here that they have liked. So they liked this vintage pair of leather pants. So you press this little button here that has the plus symbol, and it will add it directly to their bundle. Now I can send them a comment, and I'm not very pushy, but I just say hello. Okay, so her name was Bella. Hi, Bella. Thanks so much for stopping by my closet. These vintage pants are amazing, which they are. See, I have these priced pretty high. I am not sure where I got these, but I don't think they cost a lot of money. I hope that you are well during this crazy time. I will send you an offer soon. Actually, you know what? Because I created the bundle for her, thanks so much for stopping my closet, I went ahead and created a bundle for you. These vintage pants are amazing. I hope that you are well during this crazy time. I will send you an offer soon. Thanks again, Lori. I might say something like, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I'll sometimes write, what do I sometimes write? I hope that you are doing well. I will send an offer for your consideration or something like that. I never want to sound too pushy, and I always want to kind of leave it open-ended. If you have any questions, let me know. So I'll send that off first, and then I'll give it a little time. And then probably I would offer, see, this is where I'm pretty loosey-goosey. I don't know. Let's send them a good offer. Let's do $35 with discounted shipping. So I like to do like the fives, like 35, 45, whatever, 35 with discounted shipping. Well, I'm going to do discounted shipping on this. So then that way she's spending like 40. And then if she has state tax, she would add tax onto that. So this is a pretty decent offer here. You can also opt here though to do none, and that's why some people like to do it this way. Another reason I like to use the bundle feature is if I'm going back and forth on a negotiation with someone and I feel like they're very far away from my price. This actually happened to me today. I had a scarf that I had listed for $65. It has received actually, I'm going to show it to you since I have this on recording. I'm going to submit this offer. And then I am going to go on this item that I sold today, my sales. I sold this Anthropologie brand tassel scarf. So I had this scarf listed for, I believe it was $65. I sent out, and see, there were 31 likers on it. So this person plus 30 others, 31 likers. It was like, okay, it was priced too high, but there were other scarves that sold in that $50, $60 range. So I didn't think my price was that off. So I sent out offers, and I think my offer was $42 from $65 with discounted shipping. I had a potential buyer message me back with a $20 offer. So then I came back with a $35 offer. She came up to $25, and I didn't want to keep going back and forth. So I knew that I was going to stay at 30. I wasn't going to drop lower than 30 as it was. That was already more than 50% off, but we are in the middle of this crisis. Sales aren't good. I want to offer people good prices. And so I messaged her. So let me just see where this went. I'm sorry, bear with me here. Let me go back to sales because then I can get into the bundle, view bundle. I'll show you exactly what I said. So I had messaged her 35. She came back with 25. I went down to 30. Oh, she said 20. I went down to 30. She came up to 25. So I just said, good morning. I hope that $30 works for you. Thanks so much for your interest. I ship daily. I hope you are well and staying safe, Lori. So I sent that off, and then I resent my $30 offer. So I did not come down on my offer. I sent $30 once, and then I sent $30 again. But I didn't want to come across like, I don't know, I'm not going to budge on this. So I decided to send her a message, and it was sweet, and it was, I hope $30 works for you. And then I always thank people for their interest. Even if it's a lowball offer, I'll say, thank you so much for your interest at this time. I can't go any lower than this price. And I like to have my conversations in a bundle rather than under the photo. I just think it's more productive. It's more respectful. You can get into a deeper conversation. I just, if I'm offering this person a really good deal, I may not want that out there to the general public. So I like to take conversations to a bundle. So I think this was a great question, and I hope you found that helpful. Sorry that was so long-winded. I hope you found that helpful. I use that feature a lot. So yeah, it's a great way to have a private conversation with someone. It's a great way to send an offer if you don't want to offer discounted shipping. It's just a great feature. So I highly encourage that you practice using the bundle offer feature and get comfortable with it, because it is a really great tool that Poshmark offers. Okay, next question is, should I be making offers to likers on a regular basis? I think you heard my take on that. I do send offers out regularly. Another tip is to send offers out, or maybe you're going to send your most aggressive offers out like on a Thursday or Friday when people are getting paid. There are a lot of resellers who like to do heavy offers to likers on like Thursday, Friday nights. Some other people also practice like where they just go through their entire closet and send offers. I've seen other YouTubers have like their most profitable weekends or weeks by doing that, just offers to likers on every item in your closet. The thought of that to me is daunting because I have so many items in my closet, but being under quarantine and stuck in my house with no sourcing opportunities and a market that's slowing very quickly before our eyes, that is probably a feature that I am going to take advantage of. So yeah, send those offers. You know what your margins are. If you're spending a lot of money on your product and you spend $8 on a sweater and you have it marked at 20, you're not giving yourself a lot of wiggle room. If it sells for 20, Poshmark is going to take $4. That means it's 16 that you make, and if you paid 8, you're only making $8 on that item. You don't have a lot of wiggle room with that. So keep that in mind with your cost of goods. If your cost of goods is higher, definitely give yourself some wiggle room. If you get to shop at the bins or you're taking stuff out of your closet, you may have more flexibility. So you determine what is best for your business when you're sending your offers. Okay, the next question, I think this is going to be my last question of the night because it's getting super late, is sharing your closet really important? And if so, how many times a day should you share your closet? So as I mentioned earlier, I have a father who is retired and a godsend, and he shares my closet every single morning for me. I wake up usually around 6:30, 6:45, and I already see notifications popping up. So my dad shares super early in the morning, and I am on the East Coast. So I don't think that a lot of West Coast people see my closet being shared every morning because my dad shares it so early, but I am so grateful for what he does. He could share it in the middle of the night and I wouldn't mind. As long as he's sharing, I am happy. So I wake up every day knowing that he's sharing for me. My dad did not start sharing my closet until I was at 900 items. So up until 900, I was sharing on my own every day. Once I started getting over 700 items, it started to get a little overwhelming for me. Some people share super fast on their iPad with a stylus pen or their iPen. I think I've heard from multiple sources that that is one of the fastest ways to share. A mouse is usually really helpful. When I had under 700 items, I was sharing my closet twice a day. Now my closet usually only gets a full closet share when my dad does it. Then I'll share to the noon party. I'll share to the 3 p.m. party if it's applicable to things that I have in my closet. I'll share to the 7 p.m. party if I happen to be sitting down. And then I always share a little bit at night, but I find I never get through my whole closet. Again, 1,200 items is a lot to get through. A lot of people hire virtual assistants. If you're new to this, I would not encourage that. Again, you know your own business. If you are a full-time worker outside of your Poshmark business, it may be something you need to do in order to, put your time in other places that you enjoy more than sharing. It's not the funnest thing to do, but I do find that when I share, I do connect with other people. I like to randomly follow people in my area or based on brands who, people who have similar brands in their closet. It's fun. I don't do like share for share or play any of those games or whatnot. I usually will share back to people if they've shared a number of items in my closet. There's one woman, and if you're watching, I don't know if you watch my channel, but without fail, every morning, her channel name is Poshmark, I believe. The sweetest woman on earth. This woman is almost as consistent as my father, and she will share like 25 items from my closet every single day, like clockwork. I don't know where she's just the sweetest person. I don't know if she's sharing for a bunch of other people, but I do try to share her closet back every day. So sharing your own closet is important, in my opinion. I think it's very important. I think every time you share an item, it goes to the top of the feed. If you are selling the same pair of Adidas sneakers as 35 other people and you never share that item, everybody else's sneakers are going to be before yours. And if somebody's interested in buying those sneakers and they start from the top, if they type in the style number Adidas sneaker and up pop 35 items, they're going to start at the top and they're going to scroll down, and they may never get to you. They may find a seller with a good price and the size that they want before they ever even get to you. And you may have a great price, you may have great pictures, you may have a great item, but if you're not sharing it, it's going to remain at the bottom of the feed. So sharing is super important. Another habit I have is every time somebody likes an item, I share it to the top of my closet. And sometimes that just builds momentum, especially if it's a new item and it's getting a lot of likes. I'll just keep sharing it. So newer items, I'm definitely sharing a lot more than older pieces, which is another reason why things get stale. I will often, at the end of the night, so like when my dad shares my closet, I'll wake up in the morning and sometimes he ends his share on like a random place. And it may be like just old pictures, dark pictures, items I'm not like super excited about. And I don't want those at the top of my closet. So when people come and they visit my closet, I want the first thing that they see to be some of my fresher, more current items that, as I've gotten along in reselling, I feel like I've gotten a little bit better at sourcing. So I will go in and say share like just in, and then I'll share like maybe the top 20 items. So I'm constantly sharing throughout the day. But me personally, my closet only gets a full share once a day in the morning, and then I share randomly throughout the day. I hope that helps. I do think sharing is super, super important. And I think sharing your own closet is by far the most important thing to do. I think it's really kind to share other people's closets. And I believe in karma 150%. And if you are putting good energy out there, I believe it will come back to you. I don't know if that's what's going to help sell your items. So that's all for tonight. I hope you enjoyed this. Please comment below. Let me know if there are any more questions you have, if there's another Q&A series you'd like to see me do. It's really fun to kind of go back to basics and see all of the nuts and bolts that I've worked on and the things that I do every day. While these may be some good tips for beginners, these are things that I do every single day in my practice. So I hope that you found it helpful. If you did, do me a favor, please, and press the thumbs up button on your way out and consider subscribing to my channel. I release content 2 or 3 times a week. My new goal is to have videos out on every Wednesday and every Sunday. And then if I do a third video, it's kind of like a bonus. But Wednesday and Sundays, I'm going to try to get info out to you and try to get consistent times, trying to work on my organization. So anyways, thank you so much. It was fun recording here, nice and relaxing in my basement. I hope everybody is staying safe out there and making the best of this very difficult situation. If it's possible, please stay home. I know some of you have to work. Thank you to all of our healthcare providers who are putting themselves out there to save the lives of others and help others in need. I hope everyone has a wonderful night. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.